Today we're doing another experiment. I'm going to try making a healthy homemade version of Ritz crackers. So we'll see how this goes. I'm starting with 2 cups of soft white wheat flour. That's the same as whole wheat pastry flour in my food processor. And then I'm adding a tablespoon of baking powder. As usual, my baking powder is a little bit lumpy, so I'm having to smooth out the lumps. Now I'm doing a tablespoon of turbinado sugar. And a 1/4 teaspoon of Himalayan sea salt. And then I'm just going to blend that quickly before I add any of the wet ingredients. Now I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of butter in a couple of smaller chunks. Alright, it's definitely starting to get very sand textured and sticking together a lot at this point. I'm now going to add 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And because it's getting colder again, my coconut oil is not liquefied, so I'm just going to have to scrape it out the best I can. Now I'm going to pulse this again. And it's actually already just starting to come together into kind of a ball of dough. Now I have 2/3 of a cup of water that I'm going to trickle in until it definitely forms a ball of dough. Alright, that seems like not even 1/3 of a cup of water, but it's already so wet of a dough that I'm afraid to add any more. In fact, I'm actually going to add a couple more tablespoons of flour just to make sure that it's thick enough to roll out properly. I have to say, so far this is easier than I thought it was going to be making homemade crackers. Alright, now that I've cleared my work area a little bit, I'm going to try rolling this out as thin as I can, and we'll see how thin that turns out to be. Actually, I changed my mind about how I want to do this. I don't think I can get this dough to roll out and then transfer it onto a baking sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and take a baking sheet and line it with parchment paper, and then just press this out as thin as I can and score it into cracker shapes. Alright, and I was never going to do this in circles, so I'm just going to score this into nice cracker-sized square shapes. And then I'm going to poke holes in them, which apparently helps them to bake more evenly. Alright, I have these lovely cracker-shaped dough things. Now I'm going to put them in the oven and see if they turn into anything like Ritz crackers, or at least like something that we would want to eat on purpose. These crackers baked at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes, and they are lightly browned. I'm going to assume that they're supposed to crisp up and get a little more crackery as they cool. Otherwise, I messed up somewhere and should have cooked them longer. We'll see how that turns out. I'm going to brush these with 3 tablespoons of melted butter that's mixed with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to carefully brush these with melted butter so that the crumbs don't get everywhere. So my determination on these crackers is they do taste surprisingly much like Ritz crackers, but they are also extremely crumbly. That might be better if I had baked them a little bit longer. They are almost like halfway between cracker and cookie consistency. Also, next time I might do half a batch and spread it out to most of the pan to try to get the dough thinner so that they crisp up more as they cook. Definitely a winner on taste. Since they're really too crumbly to be used as crackers with dip or spreads or something, I'm not sure that I'll be making them again as is. But probably worth experimenting on again at some point in the future when I'm feeling like making something fun and different. So if you really like Ritz crackers and really don't want to buy the store-bought kind, definitely worth a shot. But overall, I'm giving this a fail as a cracker recipe. Great for if you need healthy cracker crumbs though.